Hello, and can you believe this is week 7? So I commend each of you for your hard work and perseverance in making sure that you push through to the end of this class and you're almost there. So I encourage you to just hold on and just know that you will get through this and continue to be successful. Just wanted to touch base and kind of go over some of the requirements for this week. But let's first start with the prayer of the week. It's be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. So this is a time where you might start beginning to get antsy. We'll be talking about burnout this week for your review of the lecture and PowerPoints as well as the readings. And it's really applicable because as we get close to week 8 in this course, you probably are beginning to experience more and more challenges with workload, family, school, homework, reading, all those things. And so I just encourage you to be anxious for nothing, but keep your eyes on the prize and just look to God for all things. I always often seek the Lord for my thoughts, remove my words, and I want Him to speak through me. And I just encourage you to do the same and seek to Him for everything by prayer and supplication, but be thankful for all that He is doing and has done because you are meant to be here right now at this point in time in your life. And each journey has been a learning opportunity, and you continue to grow and work in His honor for the things that He has for you, with education being one, and just the glory of being able to learn and gain new knowledge and skills and learn from each other, and then take that and use that throughout not only your family, but within your workplace, within your community. And so just be encouraged and know that God is with you in all things, and you are a creation of God. And so you are unique and special in all ways. And you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. So just know that. As I move us to the actual agenda for the week. And so you should be reading chapters 12, and your quiz speaks of chapter 12 and 13. And so the quiz will cover a lot of what's in the PowerPoint. So I encourage you to make sure that you are reviewing the PowerPoint. I don't know if you've skimmed over it in the past, but um, it is very important for you to um, reference it for this week. And it will gain insight for information that's on the quiz. But chapters 12 and 13. So 12 is cross-cultural interviewing, and 13 is some problematic interviews, the involuntary adult client and the sexually abused child. So I know some of that reading is not always so positive, but it is very helpful in you being able to move into human services and work in this field and dealing with all the different aspects of what comes with that role of serving your community and their needs. You will also need to review a journal. Not too long. It's about 13 pages, I believe. But I found myself at this practicum, student reflections on field education. And so just a lot of good insight that you will be able to use. And I would like to see, as you really start um, moving into the last few weeks, of engaging and pulling out and drawing from this information that you're reading. And so I encourage you to take aspects of this from this article and feel free to use it in your discussions, especially talking about burnout, also talking about supervisory and what that looks like in in this field of work and dealing in human services. And so being able to wrap all that and make use of that information into your discussions for this week. So moving on, like I said, the PowerPoint, yes, you will need to reference the PowerPoints. That's going to be very useful for your quiz this week, and just keeping in mind that I was trying to give you a better view of it without giving the full view, but I don't know if it's going to work for me. And so um, just a lot of information talking about how you work through, and the professionalism and dealing with individuals. And really here I wanted to speak of survival of burnout. One of your discussion questions is about burnout, and so this continues on in talking about the variances of survivor skills, and it breaks it down from burnout to managing time, to assertiveness, which is something you want to be aware of on the quiz, continuing education, professional development, and then supervision as well. So those are all important components that you could reference and make use of for your quiz. So I encourage you to review this and have this readily accessible as you are completing your quiz. Moving on, your discussion, as I continue to speak of, it's basically just answering the question, why is burnout an issue for case managers? Discuss how you plan to prevent burnout. And so looking for you to share your experience, but also want supporting evidence. We're moving into the last few weeks of this class, so you should be able to tie all that information together. Remember, there's textbooks information, there's lecture information where I'm just kind of overviewing and kind of creating the practical aspect of it. And then you have your PowerPoint that gives you a different perspective in regards to the actual interview and insight for those interviews. And then wanting your discussion to kind of wrap all that together. And so discuss how you, if you're in that role or plan to do this as a career, how do you see yourself as preventing burnout throughout your, helping others and being there to serve others. Discussion board number 2, it's describe the ways in which you believe you could benefit from supervision. And so it's not always something that's for everyone. Supervision, more times than not, seems like a very taxing role, and especially when you talk about human services, more so even child welfare, because you are there to serve the public. So you have to make sure and are responsible for your staff being trained. You have to make sure that they have the information, the resources to do the job. There's someone and or you there to answer questions as they come up, to mitigate any risk that may arise. And so is that something that you see for yourself? Are you a go-getter? Are you there, team player in the sense of helping others? But does that better support in a team approach, more case management role, or do you see yourself with really good organizational skills, communication skills, time management skills, things that are applicable? Do you do well with recognizing the need for self-care and doing things to make sure that you don't have fatigue, that you take the time to rest when needed, you clear your mind, you have self-reflection, you assess, you embrace change, you love to see professional growth and development, not only in yourself but helping others? And so is that something that you think could be beneficial for you? Are you ready to give back from an internal support of helping others that are there to support the community and be that external support? And so kind of helping from behind the scenes and being that safe haven and support team that gives them what is needed to get the job done. And so I really look forward to hearing from each of you to identify how you feel you play in describing what you believe you could benefit from supervision. And if you don't see yourself as that supervisor, really what do you need from your supervisor in this role to make sure all those things I just spoke of, with you being able to do your job and be accountable and responsible for what your workload is, and how will your supervisor support you, and what support do you need? What does that look like to you? Do you want them to have weekly meetings with you? Do you want them to provide ongoing training? Do you want them to allow you opportunities to have that personal growth and development time for yourself? And then how do they keep you aware and abreast of change and things that are coming down the pipe and information that you need to know, regulatory changes. How do they keep you motivated? What would you need from them to keep you motivated? Do you want to have lunch with them on a monthly basis? Do you want to them to stay away from you because you just want to be able to do your job? What is it specifically that you would need from supervision? And as I spoke of before, if it's something that you feel that you want to play that role of supervision and promote or currently working in that role, on the flip side, how will you keep your staff motivated? And are there things that you recognize that in such a high risk, you know, oftentimes stress atmosphere, what does that look like? And is it something that uh, you can do to help with that? Just saying good morning to your staff, having quick huddles with your staff and making sure they have any questions, being readily available to them. How do you support them in that way if they need information from you? And so really looking to see what you have to say about that, and then your responses from your peers. So please don't give up now. I notice some of your responses are getting shorter and shorter. This is really where I want you to dive in. You should have all that information from all the weeks now that you have just built upon, and you should have a well-rounded understanding. You've had so many different components of information being given to you and in different ways. And so I hope that you're able to wrap your head around all of that and kind of bring that and subsink it to, or not subsink to, and compile it in a way that you can articulate it in these discussions, and as you move into your final critical assignment and how that all kind of plays out. And so really quick, you have a quiz for week 7, quiz 3. Look at the lecture. It's really just take it in. It's really basic questions when it comes to case management. Just think through each question, take your time. It should not be that difficult. However, I did give you a couple of extra attempts because I want everybody to learn from this and not just get frustrated with trying to complete this. So if you don't do as well as you would like, feel free to take a moment, kind of reflect on the information, and then try again. I encourage you to do so. Really quick, I'm going to go back and touch on week 8 just to make sure that I can get you started and get any questions that you might have for week 8 answered for you. So I'm going to jump right in so you can see what week 8 looks like. You will have some readings. You should have already referred to chapter 13 because that was part of your quiz. So if you had not, make sure you continue to read that. You have a journal article for this as well. My lecture, then you'll have a discussion board. So this week you have discussions 1 and 2 for week 8 as well. So allow appropriate time because for week 8, the week is short. It is not as um, extended as the other weeks. All your work is due in day 5, which is that Friday. It is not that Sunday. So please, please, please make sure that you're getting this work completed timely, and it has to be completed by day 5. I only have a few days to get everything graded and get your actual grade in. So you want to make sure you're not taking too much time that week without allowing some dedication to your workload. So just want to talk through your critical assignment, and I'll come through this and do this again next week, but I just wanted to give you the heads up. So it's going to be a research project, and it's pertinent to any issue that has to do with case management knowledge and skills. And so it is going to include an analysis and summary of the topic that you choose. You see some of the examples of topics here: client empowerment within the case management process, advocacy within the case management process, managed care and case management, case managers as service coordinators, ethical and legal issues for effective case management. You can choose any of these or one of your own, but if you're going to choose one of your own, please let me know just to make sure you're on the right track. This is a detailed analysis of a case management intervention strategy. So 3 to 5 pages typed. I want a detailed bibliography. I want references, Citings, not just the textbook, but from articles, studies, dissertations. Feel free to use it all, but it has to be peer-reviewed and valid. A variety of research methods and resources should be included with interviews with community agency staff. If you can, go out, visit your agencies and find out what they do and how that could help the research that you're doing on this project. So I encourage you to take this next few weeks of compiling your data, because it will be very powerful when you come to write this, and it has to be submitted prior to your normal deadlines, which is usually Sundays for this assignment. It's day 5. So I will need it for sure no later than, not your normal weekend. It's February 28th is when this assignment will be due. February 28th. Okay, so make sure that you're allowing time to get this done. For your critical assignment, I want faith integration included, analysis of case managed intervention strategies. I want to see those outlined. What research methods are you using? Did you do interviews? Did you go out there and do site visits? What did you do to reinforce what your study was? It really, really, really needs to have appropriate APA formatting. At this point in time, you should have hopefully used all resources readily available to you to make sure that you are citing correctly. If not, I ask that you outreach to me and I can get you some additional resources. Again, just wanted to touch on week 8 to give you some insight as your homework is due day 5, February 28th. But you all are on track. Continue what you're doing and do it well. And I look forward to seeing these critical assignments and your last few discussions. You are on the right track, and I see success for you. Take care, and I wish you the best. Good luck, and God bless.